Hello and welcome back. I am Stephen A. Hart. I'm the Director of Content Marketing here at SANS Institute. We are live on the floor at RSAC 2023. We are doing live streams all week long directly from our booth 4416. If you're here at the show, please come over and say hi and hang out with us. We actually just finished wrapping a segment with James Tarala, and we had a giveaway right at the end of our first segment. I'm going to put up an overlay card here. If you want to go ahead and type SANS live stream in the chat right now, we are giving away a $40 gift card to our sansgear.com store. Brett, if you want to go ahead and put up that giveaway screen. And I'm going to give this about another 10 seconds to do a quick drawing before we move into our next segment. So if you want to go ahead and be added to that entry, go ahead and type that hashtag in the comment field right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this. We're going to be giving away prizes throughout our broadcast today. But for our first giveaway, we have Carnelis Smith. You want a $40 gift card to our SANS Gear store. Go ahead and connect with us over at contentmarketing@sans.com, and we'll make sure to get you your gift card. So listen, I will not waste any more time. Our second guest in the booth with me right now is Jorge Orchilles. He's a SANS principal instructor, author of SEC 565, Red Team Operations and Adversary Emulation. George, welcome, man.
Hey, thank you for having me. And oh my gosh, this is amazing. Look at that crowd we got here at RSA.
Yes.
Love everyone's smile. Thank you for having me on.
And we have several hundred people watching us live across LinkedIn, everyone. YouTube, and Twitter.
That is awesome. Hello, everyone on the interwebs.
How you doing?
Doing awesome.
How you liking RSAC 2023 so far?
It's my first RSA in person.
Is it?
Yeah. So far, so good. I haven't walked all of this expo yet, but I plan to. And of course, I did come and say hi to all my SANS friends and family that I haven't seen in so many years. So that just, makes me happy. It makes me happy seeing everyone here and just catching up.
So before we even get into our talk today, there's a poll that I wanted to dive right into. It's our first poll with you today, and I'm going to share. You can see kind of what we're gonna ask some questions here. Have you used a C2 framework? Which one? I want our audience tuning in to hop on over to slido.com. You can input that code or scan the QR code right now to share your thoughts on this poll. But you've long been a C2 expert at SANS, delivering lots of great content over the years about command and control attacks and how InfoSec pros can defend against them. What's one or two things, George, that cybersecurity professionals need to understand about C2 matrix and command and control attacks?
Yeah, so I actually just finished the workshop. Got sold out like a week ago, which was super cool. Also, I didn't know who was going to attend. Ended up being mostly defenders, like you said, right? That many of them have never actually used a C2 framework before. And these C2 frameworks, right, command and control, is something we see in pretty much every attack. Unless the attack is a worm, like your WannaCry and your NotPetya, which we haven't seen in years, there's some sort of command and control. So getting folks to actually use them and see what happens under the hood was very valuable. As seeing everyone's eyes light up the first time they get a call back, and now they're using the C2 channel to run things on the target systems that they just compromised was awesome, right? So really understanding that there's a ton of these C2 frameworks out there. Most of them are free, and there are threat actors, unfortunately, using them in real attacks. So we need to know how they function, and that was really one of the main goals behind the C2 matrix, was getting, making it accessible for folks to look. This is out there, it's free.
Yeah,
you should try, you should test it, you should see how it works. And then today we released a new version, just today, literally today, of the SANS Slingshot C2 Matrix Edition virtual machine. We put it up today, just released, and that has, I think, 10 different C2s pre-installed. So you can head over to sans.org/slingshot and download that right now, get you up and running, playing with those C2s, because like I said, they're out there, they're being used against us. We might as well learn how to use them and learn how they function, right?
Yeah, and so that brought me to, wanting to know how does your expertise in C2, attacks come into play in the SANS course that you offered?
Oh, so the C2 Matrix actually started because of a SANS course. So
Nice.
back in 2019, I was putting the finishing touches on Security 564. That was the 2-day that has now evolved into 565. Yeah.
Wow.
And I was using Empire, PowerShell Empire. Many of you may have heard of it. Very, very popular C2. And it was reliable, right? In the SANS training, right? We have a very high standard of what we use in the class. We want to make sure that it's reliable, it's consistent, make sure that the students aren't banging their head because, they're doing exactly what we're telling them to do, but then we're getting different results. So we went with Empire because it is one of the most consistent ones. I'm turning it in, and the original developers of Empire go on Twitter and they're like, we are not going to develop this anymore. So I'm like, oh no. And, it was okay. It's okay. You have about a year before you put something, because then students are like, hey, this isn't developed. This isn't new and cool. Well, then I started asking around. I had Ed Scotus. I remember on the SANS Instructor Slack, Jeff McJunkin, Tim Medine, right? All these awesome instructors. Hey, what free C2 are you using? One person said Sliver. One person said Covenant. Another person said Merlin. I'm like, whoa, what are all these? And that's how the C2 Matrix started. Opened up Excel, started documenting them, and today we have 126 C2s that we're tracking there.
Really?
So yeah, fast forward, that's how C2 Matrix started, and then it's just grown mostly between community feedback, right? It's there, it's a resource for everyone, it's free. Obviously, we try to give you value, but we also want to hear what you want, where we can help you, right? And then, yes, of course, we use a number of these C2s on Sec 565, for example. We use both Empire, which is the most popular free one, and we're also using Cobalt Strike, which everyone has heard of, but there's not many classes that actually use it. So our SANS Sec 565 has Cobalt Strike now. We ran it last week, and the feedback and evals have been amazing. Everyone's loving it because threat actors are using this. We need to know how they work, and you all should learn how they work as well.
Absolutely. So if you're tuning in, if you have any questions for George, feel free to drop them in the chat. Let us know what you're enjoying, what you're thinking of, what you'd love him to answer while we're having this dialogue. There's another poll that we'll throw up right now asking you, what adversary scares you the most? So feel free, if you're still in the app, engage with that while we're talking. Let us know your thoughts. And I'll leave that up so you can kind of see the responses as they're coming through. But speaking of Sec 565, George, can you tell us a little bit about what adversary emulation means and why it's important when we're talking about enterprise information security?
Yeah, for sure. It's another one of my favorite topics. You're going to see I have a lot of favorite topics, mostly all in offensive security. But adversary emulation is one of those really high value ones, right? Because you may, do a red team engagement, but they're kind of trying whoever you hire is doing what they know how to do. Right. In adversary emulation, we're leveraging cyber threat intelligence. We're understanding the adversary that's likely to target that organization, and we're going to emulate those behaviors. So you're not just defending against any attack. You're going to defend against attacks that are most likely to target your organization. So from a receiving perspective, right, if I'm a CISO, I want to know how I'm going to defend and how well I'm going to do against an attack that's likely to target me over just some random attack, right? We're not saying not to do all of them, but adversary emulation is just a good way to bring that value early on, because offensive operations is all about bringing business value. If you're just going in and getting domain admin and giving yourself high five and you're not actually improving the target organization, then you're not really bringing value, and you need to reevaluate that.
Yeah. Seeing APTs pop up.
Yep. APTs are very common. Now we have some malware attacks, social engineering attacks. No one puts supply chain attacks. Saw a couple of those in the last few months. But yeah, you your organization needs to be prepared for all of these. The question is, which one do you target first? Which one do you go after first? Ransomware, of course, is one that comes to mind because everyone's getting hit by ransomware. So
Yes.
that might be a good place to start as well. But every organization is different, you know?
So there's a question coming up in a chat from Jessica Chambers. She says, I'd love to hear your insight on how to combat identity fraud when it comes to AI.
Ooh, great question. Yeah, I've gotten a number of questions around AI, really a lot around generative AI, right? The chat bots, the chat GPTs, the Bards, the Bings, right? All these new ones coming out and how we're going to leverage them in security. For identity fraud, it's a little harder. That's really not my area of expertise. I'm more focused on the offensive side, as you know. So we did do a webcast, though, in December. It's available on SANS.org. I did it more focused on the offensive side, of course, and how to do it. Regardless of offense or defense, we still need a set of eyes, right? We're not going to be able to automate and replace humans, especially in cybersecurity. We still need that set of eyes to make sure that whatever's coming back from the AI is indeed correct, because there is a percentage that it's probably not. But you also need to know what to ask and how to use it, right? If you're completely new to this and you're asking stuff, you don't really know if it's true or not, it makes it harder. But I do see it as one of those revolutionary technologies that I compare to like when the search engine came out, right? It was amazing that you could just type something and find results, right? I know that sounds like I'm dating myself a bit, but it was amazing, and I think that's what's going to happen with AI here. A great question.
George, what's Atomic Red Team and how does that intersect with MITRE ATT&CK Matrix?
Yes. So Atomic Red Team is it's a free project by the folks at Red Canary, and it allows you to emulate certain attacks that map to MITRE ATT&CK. So they are atomic, as the name suggests. That means it's one attack, right? You're not doing an adversary emulation. You're not chaining them together. You're doing one at a time. So, for instance, later today, I'm going to talk about purple is the new red, very controversial topic, over at the Sandbox. And I'm going to talk at 1:15, I think. Oh, you put me on the spot. I don't know. My calendar will remind me when I have to run over there. I think it's 1:15. So Atomic Red Team, essentially you want to emulate a particular TTP. And speaking of Red Canaries, look at Katie Nichols over there. So, Atomic Red Team will let you do one particular test. So one of the ones I'm going to talk about that adversaries are using lately is packaging malware inside of ISO files. They're image files. They get you around Mark of the Web. So you can go into Atomic Red Team, look up that TTP. I'm not going to try to quote it. I think it's 1355. But don't quote me on that. Look it up on MITRE ATT&CK. I shouldn't really memorize MITRE ATT&CK techniques, right? But you go in there and it tells you exactly how to do it. And sometimes it tells you how to do a variety of different ways using command prompt, PowerShell. Now there's some cloud stuff. But it's an awesome project. It's definitely a place to get started. If you've never done any sort of emulation in your organization, Atomic Red Team is free. So you can go and start testing now, of course, with permission, work together with your cybersecurity folks, and then you can get started very quickly with that. It's an awesome project. I'm a contributor to it, so I'm a little biased, but love those folks. And shout out to Red Canary and all the folks there supporting that project.
As a red team, is Atomic Red Team something you use on a daily basis? And if so, how so?
No, so see, as a red teamer, you're probably not going to use Atomic Red Team. Atomic Red Team is more for, say, a purple team exercise where you're collaborating with a blue team, or a blue teamer that might not have that knowledge of and time to do a full red team engagement.
Right.
You can just grab these little atomic tests and execute them on your system or on a virtual machine or somewhere. It's really like the getting started, like the walk, the crawl before you walk, and then you run. You know what I mean?
Got it. You guys ready for another poll? I think we have another poll set up here for those tuning in. Have you participated in a hands-on purple team exercise at your organization? Yes or no? Let us know your thoughts. So while people are engaging with that poll, George, let me ask you, if Sec 565 and the topics we've discussed so far fall in the category of red team, what do you add to the mix to get to purple team tactics and
my other favorite topic. Go purple. So purple team came from the collaboration between red and blue. So of course you need a little bit of red
Yes.
to make purple, a little bit of blue, collaborate. And this all came back. Remember I said earlier about bringing value to the business. Doing red team engagements, of course, brings some value. Purple teaming is kind of what you can do in between those stealth red team engagements. You collaborate with the blue team. You leverage cyber threat intelligence. And I mentioned an ISO file, right? We've seen threat actors lately using these. So instead of waiting for the next red team engagement to do that, we can bring in everyone together, bring them to the table, say, look, this is a new way that threat actors are using. They're using ISO files. Do you think we can download ISO files from the internet? What if someone emails an ISO file? Do we have any detective or preventive controls there? What if someone opens an ISO file? What if someone runs something from within an ISO file, right? All those questions, you can tabletop them and then have the red team go and emulate it. They can use something like Atomic Red Team. Again, if it's just a getting started, you're running just an atomic test. And then when you run it, the blue team's learning, oh, that's one way of doing that. That's cool. I hadn't seen that, right? And then they go and they show the red team, look, we were able to detect this in our proxy. You were downloading an ISO file, so we can build a detection. Maybe we can block it. And you work together like that collaboratively. So purple teaming is really a function where we're all working together. And, you know, that's the theme of RSA this year, right? Stronger together.
Yes.
Right? So, yeah, but purple teaming is just one of those things. Today as well in the talk, we're going to release something else. The Purple Team Exercise Framework version 3.
You're dropping a lot of gems.
We're releasing today at that talk. Actually, for those on the live stream, you can find it right now because I'm not going to be on my computer between now and then. So it's actually already out. Special only for those watching the live stream.
Yes.
You can just Google Purple Team Exercise Framework. It's on a GitHub. It's up there now. Tell only your best friends, and then we'll release it officially at 1:30.
Let me ask you, how you got into this field, man? What drew you to Purple Team and Red Team? And
yeah, so I started breaking stuff as a little kid. My parents hated it, you know, taking things apart. And back then, I played video games. Probably some I shouldn't play at my age. I remember maybe around 12, I was playing Grand Theft Auto. But this is like the old school one, the 2D one, right? And I played it on the computer. I was all about stealing the cars, making them go faster, and then blowing them up with a Molotov cocktail. And I found that if you edited this one file, you can make the cars go faster and the explosions bigger. So I started just tinkering like that. Then I wanted to overclock my computer so the video games would look better. So started overclocking hardware. And then little by little, I actually started trying to make some money in high school by removing malware from people's houses, right? We talked about South Florida and all that. This was, you know, early 2000s. So started doing that and then got a job at Terramark in the Security Operations Center. So I was actually a blue teamer first. I did my time. I recall working 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. right across the street from Space. I would leave and people would be like going into a club. And I'm like, wow, this is a lot of work. And then through networking, actually, someone came up and they're like, hey, Citi's hiring ethical hackers. I'm like, ethical what? Ethical hackers? You mean a bank is going to pay me to hack into them? No way. And that's where I got started. I worked there for 10 years, started as vulnerability assessment analyst, then built the pen test team. The red team, it was one of the first red teams in the financial industry space. So lots of lessons learned. You can take Sec 565 to learn all about them and hear all the crazy stories of the things we did bad so you don't do them. And you bring value to your organization building that out. And then the purple team actually was also at Citi that we did a bunch of red team engagements and the blue team hated us. They're like, man, you're making us look bad. You know we haven't fixed that. You keep using it. And our chief information security officer said, hey, you all need to get along, send us to Black Hat. And then we realized, hey, we're all on the same team. We need to work together. Why don't we do a collaborative red team exercise? Purple team wasn't a word then.
Right.
And we started doing that. We started actually fixing things and detecting things way quicker. We were more efficient. And that's where it kind of took off. And now, you know, been talking about it for a while. We have 2 purple team courses in SANS as well. We haven't talked about those.
Yes.
Sec 599 and 699. There's a beginner and advanced purple team
Purple
course
team
as well.
courses.
And then yeah, you need a little red to make a little red and blue together to make purple.
Make the
So,
purple.
yeah.
I love it, man. Well, one more time for the people who didn't hear us. What time is your talk today?
1:15 or 1:30
And it's in
at
the
Sandbox 207.
Yes.
Moscone South 207. Actually, I think that's just above us. Awesome. I don't have to run across streets.
But for those of you who are at the show, make sure you check that out. If you're not, I believe you can go through the RSAC website and find that information. We'll make sure in the archive of this live broadcast, which will be on our YouTube page, we'll make sure we plant the link so those who missed it can go back and watch.
Awesome.
Listen, it's a pleasure. It's great to
Always
have
a
met you in
pleasure.
real life.
Yeah, right. Finally.
Right?
Finally.
Good luck
I'm
today.
saying that a lot today.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, thank you so much for having me
Anything
on.
else you're looking beyond your talk? Anything else you're looking forward to while you're here at the
I
show?
want to walk this expo and see what this is all about. I've never seen so many people together at one place outside of a music festival. So I want to check out anything new going on. I'm a fan of checking out like the new booths, like I think there's a section, I don't know the exact name. It's like the early stage booths where it's like new ideas coming out, new products and all that.
I was going to ask you about
I like
that.
those ideas, yeah.
So what's the buzzword that you're catching?
Oh, I haven't heard much today because I just got here, right? I did my workshop. There obviously lots of C2, lots of purple teaming. Hopefully it's purple teaming. I mean, the theme is stronger together.
Yes.
So hopefully purple teaming it continues to take off, but we'll see. I'll have to come back on after and find out.